Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we are taking a look at the Tier 8 Ognevoi, which was once the Tier 6 Russian destroyer, which now is in the Tier 8 position, which is setting off to the Grozovoi, which is the new Tier 10 Russian destroyer on the split branch. And honestly, although I already kind of have looked at it, this is going to be a revamp of that, since obviously it is not the same type of destroyer as far as its capabilities compared to the tier 6 that it once was. So let's actually go ahead and take a look at survivability, and probably should point this out now that this is nearly fully upgraded. There's only one upgrade that I have not got for the Ognevoi as of yet, and it is the range, but this has the additional guns, and I will talk about the upgrades. So this has the guns and the hull upgrade. Once again, I will talk about those. So survivability, hit points, you're looking at 16,100. Not too bad. She is kind of big. She has a big silhouette, which really does allow her to be more easily hit, although her detection's not the worst thing in the world, especially for a Russian destroyer. Armor, once again, it's nothing too extravagant. Now, the main issues about the Ognevoi is her turrets. She has two dual 130 millimeters, one on the bow and one on the stern. They have a 5-second reload, which is not terribly great. And yes, my captain is not a full 19-point captain, so do keep this in mind. So you can definitely get the speed on the guns a little bit faster. The turn times is 9 seconds. Max dispersion is 97 meters. Max HE damage is 1,900 with a 8% fire chance. Max AP damage is 2,600 with a 10.9 kilometer. Now the AP and HE shell velocity is 900 meters per second. So honestly, it's not too bad. But once again, having a limitation on the guns, which once again the Ognevoi at tier 6 had, which yes, still sucked, but the Ognevoi in a gunfight is not the greatest thing in the world. Albeit she can do damage, but she doesn't, or is not capable like the Tashkent of old. So the Kiev is definitely a far superior gunboat than the Ognevoi. But the benefit of the Ognevoi over the Kiev is her torpedoes. Now, once you have the ship fully upgraded, you go from 3 torpedoes. So you would have a total of 6 to 2 quintuple torpedoes on each tube. And they have a 10-kilometer range, 56 knots, kind of slow. They have a load time of 115 seconds. Max damage is 15,100. So the Ognevoi kind of acts more like a torpedo boat, and she does decently well. And I highly recommend going for the hull upgrade to get those additional 4 torpedoes compared to the hull upgrade. So torpedoes are decent. They do pretty good damage, and with the ability of launching 10 torpedoes with a range of 10 kilometers, not too bad. And they are detected by sea at 1.1 kilometers. So once again, not too bad. AA defense is alright. It's not extravagant. You're looking at average damage of 14 at 1.4 kilometers. Then you have 6 single 37 millimeters. Average damage is 34 at 3.9. Then you have 1 dual 76 millimeter, 4.2 kilometer range. Average damage is 3. And then your main guns also act as additional AA defense. Average damage is 25 with a 6.2 kilometer range. Now, once again, AA is not something you're really good for on the Ognevoi. So try to keep as stealthy as possible. Maneuverability, decently fast. She is a little bit slower than, I believe, the Tashkent. The Tashkent was the second fastest destroyer of old. I don't know if things have changed. I will have to actually look that up. So she's about the same speed as a American destroyer. She does have the speed flag, so with that you get up to 38.9 knots. She has a 610 meter turning circle radius and a 4.8 rudder shift time. So she's kind of big. She doesn't turn that well. That 610 meters does really kind of hinder her. She's really good at going at straight speed. So that is good. Now, granted, she is not as big as bulky as the Tashkent once was, or still is, but she still has that Russian demeanor to her where she's kind of more bigger and sits up a little bit higher in the water. Concealment is not too bad. This captain has both the concealment module as well as the concealment expert. Detectability range by sea is 6.1. Now, the reason why I went for concealment expert on my captain is obviously to allow you to get a little bit closer to actually drop torpedoes. As you can see, 6.1 on a Russian destroyer is pretty darn good. Most times, most Russian destroyers are looking around 7 to almost 8 kilometers. I believe the Tashkent used to be like this. I believe the Tashkent is still like this, but with her, you can actually get a little bit closer. She acts more like a torpedo boat. I'm not saying that she isn't downright terrible at using her main guns, but torpedoes are probably going to be your best bet. Now, moving on to actually the upgrades, the modules are very consistent. I have gone for a defense. Probably not the best thing right now. I probably should have actually went for the aiming system modification 1, which will increase the diverse speed of my torpedo tubes and decrease the dispersion on the main battery shells. So probably at this moment, having that additional range to your A is not the most beneficial. It is more of just planning for the future. So that's why I have it on there here and now. Propulsion modification 1, obviously prevent your engine from going out. Then propulsion modification 2, so you can accelerate a little bit quicker. And then concealment modification 1. Now, when you first get the Ognevoi, you can see the tree branch is a little bit different than normal. Normally, you would go from the hull A to the hull B and then over to the guns. With the Ognevoi, it goes from your main guns to the upgraded guns, which will increase your reload time and also increase the AP damage. It will decrease the turn time on the guns and increase your AP damage, as well as allowing you move into the B hole, which will actually prove very beneficial. With the B hole, you get increased damage. You also, let's see, quickly press that. You will also get a reduced rudder shift time, but the main thing is going to be your torpedoes. You can see that you drop from 5 torpedoes in each tube to 3, and having those additional 5 can prove very beneficial, allowing you to deal more damage. Now, the only thing I have yet to actually get fully upgraded on this Ognevoi is the range. The range will increase to 12 kilometers, and if you have advanced firing training, this obviously will increase it a little bit more, but I've yet to actually get my captain all the way up. And speaking of the captain, let's actually take a look at him. As usual, very basics. Now, here's a slight, I guess you could say, a slight issue with my captain. You can see there is a captain skill that is normally recommended for destroyers that I've yet to get, and that is going to be Last Stand. Last Stand obviously allows you to still use your engine and steering even when they are damaged or incapacitated, as it is actually probably rightfully said. I've yet to get this. Normally, if you are going up the Russian destroyer lines, your captain's going to be a lot higher than mine. Mine, unfortunately, is being retrained as I go through the Ognevoi up to the Grozovoi. So instead, I opted for Adrenaline Rush. This increases the reload rate. This will benefit both your guns as well as your torpedo tubes. So this acts very similar to basics firing training. As you lose your health, you get faster and faster reload. Superintendent, obviously, and then I have gone for Concealment Expert. Now, as far as the Grozovoi, I would almost say eventually get Torpedo Armament Expertise. Get your torpedoes a little, reload a little bit quicker. And then, especially for the Grozovoi's concern, if you want to go for more of an AA build, you probably want to pick up either Basics Firing Training or Advanced Firing Training. They will allow your A to be a little bit better, even though it has, the Grozovoi has been nerfed when it was released. reducing the capabilities of the strong AA defense. Now it's actually about the same as the gearing, without the additional AA madness. So yes, so we're actually gonna go ahead and jump into a replay with the Ognevoi, and it was a really good replay, so I will see you guys there. Alright everyone, welcome back to a replay with the Ognevoi, and we are currently playing on Okinawa. We have a Taiho, 2 Montanas, a Yamato, North Carolina, Alabama, Bismarck, Amagi, Des Moines, Edinburgh, and a Benson and Ognevoi. I am once again joined with Jay. On the enemy team, there is a Taiho, 2 Montana, Kurfürst, North Carolina, 2 Alabamas, Amagi, Hindenburg, New Orleans, Fletcher, and a Tashkent. As you can see, we are slightly at a disadvantage as far as destroyers are concerned. They both have tier 9 destroyers while we are both lowly tier 8s. And the Ognevoi, although has decent torpedoes, and probably should point out right here and now, this is the whole A upgrade with the Ognevoi. This is probably my best game I've had with her. So if you have good games with the A-hole, with the A-hole, you should have a good game with the B-hole. So, as you can see, there is going to be a lot of fighters around, and try and play it safe. There is a fighter that is around 4.7 kilometers away, trying not to be spotted, but my division mate is pushing into C, and he does get spotted by the fighter planes. Now we are detected, but I'm fairly safe into B, and I can start capturing it. Which will at least allow me the advantage. Now, unfortunately, the enemy CV does choose to go after our friendly CV's torpedo planes, and the friendly team is kind of taking their time. It looks like there's at least a destroyer over at A, and yeah, I'm gonna pop my smoke because there are 3 torpedo bombers circling above, so I dropped my smoke, but of course the CV doesn't technically need to see me. He just has to drop his torpedoes kind of in the direction. Now, Jay is still pushing out, and I think he's hoping to at least get C at least started captured, but he does run up against the Tashkent, and the Tashkent is, I honestly think it's a decent destroyer. I think the guns are fairly decent. It is a little bit bigger as far as ability to get hit, and there I try to fire, not the best of luck. So I do switch on AA, hoping to help bring down any planes, and I'm just not getting the best of luck trying to get hits on this Tashkent. Now, the AA on the Ognevoi is not bad, but considering these are tier 9 planes and the AA can at max do about 40 points of damage, I think, it's nothing too extravagant, not likely to really take down, but every little bit does help. So right now, not really much is going on. I'm kind of sitting in my smoke screen. I'm going to try to assist on getting torpedo hits on this Montana. Now the range is pretty good. The speed's not the greatest, but it's one good thing about the Russian destroyer torpedoes is that they can catch anyone by surprise. Now, I did accidentally leave my AA on, and I was detected briefly, but now, of course, the dive bombers are going overhead and hoping to get a shot on that Tashkent, but unfortunately, it's not the case. So, might as well open up on this Alabama, and since our entire friendly team is going to A, and do not go to A on Okinawa. It just separates you from pretty much everything, and now it looks like the Tashkent is focusing up on me. My torpedoes are inbound. Don't know if we're gonna get a hit. We might get one for lucky. There we go. We got a torpedo hit, cause flooding. We'll see if he uses damage control, and it looks like that's gonna be the case, which is unfortunate. Now, of course, we have a Tashkent 4.5 kilometers away, and a Ognevoi versus a Tashkent. My money's on the Tashkent. We do get a good hit. Unfortunately, we just lost our friend in his Benson, and I think it's time to try to slip away if possible. My smoke's almost up. Just have to take a few more beatings from this Tashkent, and there we go. We're going to go ahead and pop our smoke and go invisible. Now the enemy Tashkent went ahead and popped his own, so he's no longer even able to detect me. Now I'm kind of surprised that he did this, because had I not had my smoke, he wouldn't have been able to detect me, because majority of the enemy forces is all the way out at sea, and fortunately I'm able to get away. That's always very nice. So going back to how you should be playing the Ognevoi, you really need to be playing her like a torpedo boat. Her guns are decent, definitely a lot better than the German guns thus far. Taking a pot shot at the Germans there. But predominantly, I would say treat her like a oversized Japanese destroyer with semi-good torpedoes. So, fired a spread of torpedoes against the New Orleans. And the North Carolina turns in, but I think he's actually going to get by, which is unfortunate. And actually, nope. There we go. We got two. Cause flooding. That's actually really nice. And now our torpedoes are back up again. And trying to debate whether or not is he actually going to be coming straight. Fired one straight at him and one a little bit off towards the right. Now it looks like the enemy Montana is pushing quite heavily. We do have a friendly Des Moines that is trying to combat the enemy fleet, but there's just so many of them that even though he's bow in, he is just getting burned down quite easily. Now we were quickly radared. I believe the New Orleans popped his just so he could try to spot me, but fortunately I am able to get out. And once again, our friendly team moved to A, and they're just now getting around the corner, and we've lost our tier 10 cruiser. Granted, it's the only one, and unfortunately we get no flooding on this North Carolina, but we do get a torpedo hit, so that's another 10,000 points of damage, which isn't too bad. The enemy Montana, I think I understand why. He's trying to push, but it's just at the wrong time, because he has both our friendly Montana and the other friendly Montana Yamato that's just coming around the corner from A. So essentially there's no way to angle against all that. Now I did fire torpedoes behind the Montana. I did have to wait, but it looks like the friendly Montana does take out the enemy Montana, so that's actually really good. So with all this excitement, I just now realized we have a Bismarck that is playing really passively way in the background, and a North Carolina that is currently AFK. Now the North Carolina that I was focusing on is now dead, and there is the enemy Tashkent. He is trying to make a power play. He's trying to push into B. Probably is hoping to at least surprise that enemy Montana, our friendly Montana, because our friendly Montana is very low on health. Now, I've come around this island, slowed up, because I did not want to get detected, because as you can see, the enemy Curve is currently sitting around 9.3, well within our torpedo range. So let's see if we can get a torpedo hit. Now granted, the Ognevoi's torpedoes aren't the highest damaging, but every little bit helps against the Curve, because the Curve is just a sponge. It's a damage taking sponge, essentially. Now the Tashkent, last time we saw him, it looks like he was pushing into B. He is currently hiding in smoke because our CV is trying to assist as much as possible, but we have just lost our Montana that was holding B. And once again, had our friendly team, like there's still an Alabama that's still over at A, and granted the Montana and Yamato are now fully pushing out. It's kind of late that they are, but oh well. Get 4 torpedo hits on the Curve. Very nice. We cause 4 floodings. Now, unfortunately, he does have damage control up and ready for use. And our torpedoes are back up. Now, I'm getting a little bit careful. I don't want these dive bombers to spot my torpedo drops. And we're going to see if we can get lucky. Trying not to get spotted by the dive bombers, because the enemy Kurfürst the enemy Kurfürst secondaries are pretty good. Definitely something I do not want to deal with, especially being 7.2 kilometers away from a Kurfürst. Yeah, I definitely don't want to deal with this. Just gotta wait till the dive bombers are away and our smoke run is out. Okay, it's very, very good time to quickly leave. Our torpedoes are looking pretty good. I will have to fully admit. We might get a few. There we go. Took out the Kurfürst. That gave us plenty of damage done. Our very first kill of the game, 13 torpedo hits. And the enemy team, I don't think is going to win this. Their Tashkent is in quite a bit of trouble. It has an Edinburgh, and now I'm going to open up on him as quick as possible with light to take him out. Get a nice damage roll there. Can we get a kill number 2? That would be fantastic right about now. And the Edinburgh does take him out. So the enemy team only has two Alabamas, a New Orleans, and Hindenburg, plus their Taiho still left on their side. And yeah, I kind of stole that kill. I will fully admit, but it's securing a kill, which is good. It's definitely something that needs to occur, especially since most of our team went around A and kind of left B and C to fend for themselves, which was just 2 destroyers and a Des Moines and Montana, I think, was the only other ship. So yeah, once again, in this map, don't go to A, don't lemming train to A. It is the worst idea. I've seen it happen so many times, and very rarely do I ever see it actually create a victory. Most times you just lose all your friendly ships that went over to sea, and yeah, it's not good. It's not fun. So pretty much the entire enemy force is over around G9, 8 through 10, and it looks like they're actually working together. So big thumbs up for me for actually kind of staying together. The Taiho is staying up with the fleet, lending a support and getting a support as well. Unfortunately for me, there's really not much I can do. I could use my guns. The closest target is going to be this New Orleans. He is very low on health. It will probably require at least 3 to 6 shots just to take out, just depending on how unlucky or lucky I am, or even including my aim, which, I mean, my aim's not too bad. We just lost our Montana to the enemy Hindenburg, which is unfortunate, but yeah, I really don't see the enemy team being able to take back what essentially is this game. New Orleans is pushing in, and do go ahead and decide to switch to guns. The CV does get a hit on the New Orleans, but he is essentially cross-dropping this New Orleans, which is a tad bit excessive. Now I am detected, and that is a Hindenburg, but I don't think he's probably actually going to really pay attention to a lonely Ognevoi. So yeah, better safe than sorry. Go ahead, pop my smoke, and yeah, I really don't think there's not much that this enemy team could do. Now, honestly, I don't like the Ognevoi. I mean, it's not a terrible ship, but even as at a tier 6, it was difficult to play, and as a tier 8, oh, it can be a pain. It can be a downright pain. I'm not saying it's a downright terrible ship compared to some other nation destroyers, but Ognevoi, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting rid of this. I will see you at the victory screen. Alright, so our team earned a victory. We brought home 303,814 silver, 6,185 XP, and 310 free XP. We did 141,201 points of damage, 46 shell hits, 13 torpedo hits, 2 incapacitation, 2 kills. Granted, one was kind of a steal kill, but 10 floods and 1 base capture. We were top of the team with a base XP of 2,011. we did 88,488 points of damage against the Kerfers and a lowly 209 against the Alabama that we killed. 33, almost 34,000 against the other North Carolina, and around 10,000 against the Tashkent. Now, our main guns did a lowly and pitiful 9,962 compared to our torpedoes, which did 129,626 points of damage. We fired 42 and only landed 13. And flooding assisted a little bit with 1,613. So after everything was said and done, 219,614 silver was brought home. And coming back to the Ognevoi, it has good torpedoes. I think that's the only thing that's really going for it. It has decent torpedoes. Let me clarify. It has decent torpedoes. But as a ship on the whole, I honestly don't get many good games. Like I said, this is probably one of my better games I've had with the Ognevoi. And it's definitely a step aside from the main Russian destroyer branch, which is predominantly a gunboat branch. And it's unique. I don't want to say it's the worst ship in the world, but even as, like I said, as a tier 6, it was still very difficult to play. Wasn't the greatest thing to deal with, to go through with, until you obviously get to the Kiev, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is definitely the Russian style. But as a tier 8, where you're facing much higher damaging destroyers, and you have radar, and you have hydroacoustics, and all this stuff, yeah, it's not particularly fun. I would highly recommend, if you have the free XP, skip the ship, get to the Udaloi. Udaloi, I don't know if it probably has changed a little bit. Should have a little bit better guns. Torpedoes, I think, are a little bit better than it used to be, but we'll see. I'm definitely looking forward just to get through the Udaloi and see how it compares to what it used to be, and then getting up to the Grozovoi. So this is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Jen.